Hey Luke,
What's up, Patsy?
how we doing?
Well, I'm doing. How about you?
Oh, same old, dude. Same
Lights
old, same old.
working?
Wife is at the hospital.
With your father-in-law?
Yeah, apparently he's coming home tomorrow.
Oh, really? Will he gain any motion in feet and everything, or
Uh, he has
speech?
his speech has gotten better. Uh, but I mean, he still kind of sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher. Um, but it has improved.
Hmm.
He uh, uh, he was able to. Last time I saw him last Sunday, I went over for, or I'm sorry, last Sunday we went over for the Steelers game uh, at the hospital, and he actually was twitching his left foot and his left arm a bit. So that was encouraging. He actually wasn't supposed to come home until next week, but the insurance company decided they're not paying anymore. So
Of course not.
it was a mad scramble today. Um, to get uh, try to find somebody for some home health care and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which I struck out on, by the way. But apparently, they're having a hard time getting help too.
And damn people just don't want to work, huh?
I can't understand why.
There's a field that doesn't pay a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, starting to
Um,
see a pattern develop here.
yeah. It's you just hear so many things, and now, of course, these people watching Fox News, the tax rate's going to 38%. They're taxing everybody, on this new
Hmm.
bill. I'm like, they're going to, all the corporations are going to send everything overseas because of taxes.
Yeah,
And how come it's never happened before when they raise corporate taxes? They keep more jobs here because they have to.
right,
You know
right.
what? Take away those overseas incentives. How's that?
Well, that would make a lot of sense now, wouldn't it?
Yeah. How about this? You know what, Patsy? You make all your radiators here in the U.S. You know what? You're going to pay that minimum. We're going to go minimum rate. You're going to pay 15%. And how about this? Any money you make on imports is going to be 40%.
The
Wouldn't that be a nice incentive?
oh, that'd be a great incentive. We've noticed that, and when I see you last Sunday,
Yeah.
Last Sunday,
Saturday I was there. Yeah.
last Saturday, and we had talked about how hard it is to get anything from overseas here. Uh, I wonder if it's not going to be kind of a self-correcting thing where these companies are either going to continue to not pay their employees a living wage and go bankrupt simply because they can't get product, or if they're going to start paying people a living wage, take a hit on um, uh, their profit margin and stay in business and make something more than nothing. Because look, what I tell you, we're 14, 12, no, we're 14 to 16 weeks out.
Yeah, it's not unusual for a lot of steel. Metal buildings are out. Let me think. 8 months.
For a metal building.
Yeah, from the major manufacturers.
But what we tell you about that door, right? We're looking at November, and that's if we would have ordered it last month.
here. I don't know if you caught the article. Here's something you never hear on the so-called liberal media mainstream. You know where a lot of the import issues are coming? Like right now, there's 54 container ships at anchor in Los Angeles, Long Beach, wherever they come in.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when they anchor out there, they have to have all kinds of extra security to make sure the ships aren't hit by another ship and spacing and everything that would go with it. Normally, they never have anything out there. And I'm reading an article, and here's which that's one thing. They're out there. They're out there. Did you know between 16 and 18, the two major shipping companies that do all these imports decided they bought out some of these smaller shippers that have smaller container ships, and these little container ships maybe would carry 3,000 containers. They'd get into a berth, and they'd basically have them out of berth in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they eliminated the competition is what they did, because they put everything on the big container ships to go anywhere from 15,000 to 18,000 containers at a crack. Now think about that on a ship. 3,000 is a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Think about 15,000 containers on a vessel. And you think about a train. If there's 150 cars on a train, double stack, that means that took 300 containers.
Right.
Okay.
Which was one of these smaller ships.
That's basically 1/10 of a smaller ship. Now you got 5% of a big ship at one time. So the railroad doesn't have enough cars to keep moving these things off the big ships to get them east, Midwest, wherever they might be going. So they end up backlogged sitting in rail yards because they're trying to unload them and then get empties back to the port. Plus, those got to be unloaded. Plus, then you have the new containers coming on and making a trip around. So basically, you have, once again, corporations, conglomerates, monopolies, looking for that high profit margin and basically jacking up the supply line.
Mm-hmm.
Because of creating their own inefficiencies is what they're doing.
Oh, sure they are.
Sure
they are. Look, I told you last week. One of our people on the phone arguing with somebody, telling them, "What do you mean this container is going to be late? You already owe me one. Right? You already owe me a container. Now you're telling me the second one's going to be late."
Yeah, here's another one that's gone in. The numbers coming through. The container industry, the shipping. I think the one big company made 25 billion over a year, and this year's projected to be 80 billion. Well, geez, container price, because of demand and them fucking up the supply line, went from 3,000 to 4,000 to get it from overseas to 20,000, 25,000. I heard it as high as 30,000.
10
If
times.
not in the low 30s.
10 times.
Yeah.
10 times more. Right. So, go back to my question. That price now has to be moved over, right? I mean, it's got to they got to make up for that difference in cost, right?
Shipping's part of product.
Right.
Cost.
So your costs are going to increase. At what point does this? Don't forget, we still got a 14-week, and I'm being kind here, a 14-week lead time, right? And I'm being kind on 14 weeks. At what point do you sit there and say, I can do this in a third of the time for the same price and just make everything here?
I heard that also that Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart are all looking now to buy some of these now unused small container ships for themselves.
Start doing it themselves, kind of like what Amazon's doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know we had an issue. We were supposed to have a container on the water August 15th. It got delayed till the other day, 1 month in Lingbo. Do you know why that was delayed? COVID
No. Well, there you go.
over there.
Yeah, the great equalizer, right?
Yeah, the great equalizer.
Yeah. Well, COVID's hitting everybody. I mean, we got a hose supplier, you know, overseas that can't keep up with any kind of demand because nylon hoses they can't produce them quick enough. And over where it was over in Turkey, I mean, they're lazy as fuck anyhow, right? And we had to badger them then whenever everything was going good. Now, forget it. And whenever everything was up and running pre-COVID, there was a 6 week lead time,
Yeah.
right? And that's whenever everything was good. We had to wait
Right.
six
Yeah.
weeks.
We used to be able to get it in 6 weeks, 6 to 8,
Yeah,
from factory, port, landed, rail,
right.
here, 6 to 8. No, let me
Six to
run
eight.
this up real quick.
See, that's why you never eat during the pod. That's why you never eat during the show. Uh, I guarantee the only reason he's doing that is because he spilled it. I promise you, he did. Uh,
I took my dirty pumpkin mousse dish up.
okay, I told everybody. I think it's because you actually spilled it.
Got a pumpkin mousse cake from Oakmont Bakery. Oh my God, I love pumpkin.
Oh yeah, you're like my wife. She goes crazy over pumpkin everything.
Yep.
I've never had more beer in my house than I do now. And it's not like a whole lot of like one thing. It's not like a case of one thing. It's like two of this brand, two of this brand, two of what I mean. It's just here and there, just on down the line. And I sit there and I'm like, what the hell is all of this? It's pumpkin season. All right, you can have it.
Oh man.
You know, I wonder whenever they're going to start wising up because I tell you something, Lou. This isn't going to get better anytime soon. Okay, I mean, think about how much this has hurt. It's been what, 18 months?
Let me think. Yeah, when you take when it hit, we got shut down mid-March 2020. This is now September. Yeah, you're 18 months right now.
Yeah, 18 months, right?
Yeah.
Look at how much havoc this thing's played in 18 months, and people either. I mean, you look at a lot of places overseas, right, where they just can't get vaccinated because they don't have the vaccines, and a lot of these places are where all your manufacturing's taking place, right?
Yeah. We were talking, on that same order, one of the freight forwarders or somebody really in the know, one of these big companies where you have these people that study this stuff. This guy was given a forecast to my boss. He hasn't really been wrong on COVID yet or stuff going on. He said, you're only halfway through. Expect another 18 months
Yeah, you
because
know,
of non vaccinations, non masks, and just everything because around the world, just like you said, they don't have access to a lot of these vaccinations yet. Some of the countries do. And it's going to cause more variants because there's already a mu and a lambda out there, right?
right.
I think the lambda, they said it's going to be no big deal. It's about gone now, but they're worried about the mu or mu, whatever.
Whatever the hell it's called, right?
Um,
You, typical American bullshit, right? We have the way to kill this, and we refuse to do it. And you got other countries that were begging for the vaccine. We can't get it to them fast enough.
yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. We're so fucked up. We are so fucked up. Uh, by the way,
Speaking of, what's that?
if you ever want to see something interesting, I don't know if you're on Reddit or if you've ever been on Reddit, but there's a subreddit called the Herman Cain Award.
Oh, that I got to look that up.
You really want to look at that. Uh, just look at it for 5 minutes and you'll see the same theme over and over and over again, right?
Here, on the vein of open air, you're safe, even if you're in a crowd. Let me throw this one at you. They're going to be opening another. You know how big the hospital is in Youngstown. I won't say the
Mm-hmm.
name.
Yep.
Downtown,
Mm-hmm.
pretty good size.
Yep. Nice size.
They're transferring over one of the entire floors over the weekend to a COVID floor in addition to two that they've already done. Guess what they're attributing it to? And what's your first guess? Mine was wrong.
Uh, non-vaxxers.
What happened 2 weeks before over in Canfield, Ohio?
The fair.
100,000 people a day go through a fair, and that's 10 times the size of a football stadium that holds 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think about how that's laid out there, how big it is.
Yep. Well, you know what? Again, we have a self-correcting problem. And unfortunately, it's going to take a whole lot of other people with it.
And you know what? The more people they take, that feeds into, and nobody mentions this, how many people died from COVID so far that are attributed to COVID, which I believe is more? It's up to 675 now.
Yeah, I was going to say almost 700
How many of those
grand.
people were working age and not elderly?
Oh, a lot. Yeah, a whole lot. Probably a majority. Probably a majority.
Okay. They never mention those numbers.
No, they used to.
How many people are now home in long term COVID? Or how many people are home now taking care of kids that went out of the labor force or taking care of parents?
Oh yeah, a whole bunch. A whole bunch. And you know the worst part about the whole thing is Lou. I'm seeing, all these places and all these folks that are posting jobs, okay, and I'm seeing entry level positions that want 5 years experience.
Yeah, how do you get entry level and you want experience?
Well, it was pointed out to me. Do you know what they mean by entry level? Pay.
Well, there you go.
So we're seeing the same thing repeating itself again, aren't we? Aren't we seeing that whole thing again? The same thing we talked about 10 minutes ago. Entry level with 5 to 10 years of experience. That's not entry level, buddy. 5 years experience, you're mid level there. Okay, you're you're established now. You're starting to create policy.
Do you know how many people my age are looking for work that are experienced that won't be hired because they're my age? In
Uh,
between, say, that 55 to 62 group,
Probably a whole lot because I'm starting to see that myself.
ageism.
Hmm.
There's a lot of those people out there too.
Yeah, you're basically uh, too expensive to hire. Because let's face it, nobody 50 years old. Okay, nice round number. Nobody 50 years old who's had a career, who's been doing things right, not bouncing around, construction jobs, but actually, well, even then, uh, is going to sit there and take your entry level job or whatever you want to pay for $10 an hour. It's not going to happen. Even if they're single, it's just him and his wife, or her and her and a person and their spouse. Not mentioning family, house, anything like that. No one that age is going to do that. They've been around the block too many times. They're not going to do that. And if they are, you're going to get a half a day's work out of them for a full day's pay, if that.
You know how many people, they would bitch about that. I said, I remember when I was in college and I got hired at the mill, steel mill. So I didn't know shit. They were willing to train me quick because they needed people. I said, whatever happened to that by the employer? I was just looking at this, best incentive, lower taxes and tariffs. Tried that how many times? The trickle down is in Jeff Bezos' bank account.
Yeah,
Um,
it trickled down from his business to his bank account.
yeah, that's where the trickle down went. Where's the incentive for a company to, they want people pre-trained, pre-educated, and don't want to pay the price of admission to do it.
Right.
Good roads, good education, everything but the money to pay for it. We
Right.
need volunteers. Yeah. Would George Carlin say, you know why Republicans like volunteers? Because they work for fucking free.
Yes, they work for free. Yeah. And you can't you can't really get what do you call it? Come on, it wasn't an intern. It was a oh, come on, Lou. You went in and you worked with somebody in the mill and you learned a trade.
Oh, yeah, the
An
apprenticeship.
apprenticeship, right?
Electricians are still offering that. A lot of the building trades are still offering that if you work out of the union hall.
We have to work out of the union hall, though,
Out of
right?
the union hall.
Right.
Electrician, carpenter, they are offering some of that.
And
Um,
how many of these contractors are going to hire out of a union hall?
well, I have one friend that's a contractor. He's bitching he can't find anybody. I said, why don't you call the Newcastle School of Trades, take somebody that already has a basic knowledge from what they learned there and train them. I said, who trained you? Oh, well, a contractor hired me and that's how I learned. Because I came out of Votech. I said, oh, geez, but you're not willing to do that yourself
You're not willing to do for
to a
some,
young kid.
right?
I said, that young kid you train, say you got him for 2, 3, 4 years. Guess what? He'll have the incentive and knowledge. Maybe I'll start my own contracting business to take over because then you're going to be too old anyhow. I said, it's
And
just a circle of life.
and if you take the time to train somebody, other places, other things, other companies, or whatever, become less attractive to them,
Yep.
right? Because you showed an interest in them, you invested in them.
Yeah. And
Come on,
it's
Jimmy.
been, and during all this, it's been proven and they don't get the press. Do you follow Dan Price on Twitter?
I do not.
You got to look him up. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Okay, Dan Price. I know when I tell you this, you'll know who it is. Guy owned a company out in Washington or Oregon, somewhere out there. Some kind of payroll company like ADT or one of these. And he said that he was finding out he had a couple employees he was wondering why they were tired, and he found out they were working another job on the side. He says, why are you working another job on the side? Well, you're in an area that's a higher cost of living. Well, we can't make ends meet. I got to cover my child care expenses. So he sat down, ran his numbers, and then he said, I made $1 million last year. He did. So he came out and said, you know what? I'm taking a pay cut to $70,000. Everybody that works for me right now just got a raise to $70,000 plus incentives. Okay, and Rush Limbaugh and Hannity said, you're going to fail. I hope you go bankrupt, this and that. Guess where he's at today? When he posts, he has doubled the size of the company. Productivity has doubled. He's gained so many new customers. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what? He says, I might not be making $1 million a year, but when I put an ad out for a job when somebody retires, 300 people apply for it.
Right.
He says, he says, just amazing what a good, and his starting salary is 70. And he says, most of my people make six figures.
And look what happens. He's turning people away. In the meantime, we either can't get anybody to come through the door or they can't pass a piss test.
Well, that was another thing too. Back in my day in the mill, there was no piss test.
No. No.
You know what? And I don't know why companies right now, with the way things are, okay, alcohol you pass, marijuana you don't.
Marijuana is illegal.
Still doesn't give. They can still say, you know what? We don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, they could. They could. Their
Nothing.
insurance company might have something to say about that.
They could quit just giving a test.
Yeah. I don't see why they don't.
Unless you come into where, the easy way around that. We're not giving any piss tests. You get hurt on a job, you're getting a drug test, and if you test positive for controlled, yeah, you're liable.
Yeah. And you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's ways around that. Whether they choose to do it or not. I think that's whenever we're going to see this whole COVID thing turn around. Everybody's doing all these incentives and all this other shit. I'm just waiting for insurance companies to say, you know what? You go to the hospital, you get tested. If you come up with that you got COVID, we're not paying for you. You're on the hook. That's when you'll see people change their fucking tune real quick.
If they're unvaccinated.
Yep.
If it's a breakthrough, it's a different story.
Breakthroughs happen, right? They happen with everything. Yeah. Nothing you can do about that. You did your due diligence. You got your vaccine. You did what you were supposed to do. Right? You still happen to get it. You put your seatbelt on, you get into an accident, it cripples you or kills you. Well, it wasn't your fault that guy ran the light. You had your seatbelt on, you were doing a speed limit, you were doing everything you were supposed to. It's just bad luck. You choose not to wear the seatbelt. You choose to go over the speed limit, or you choose to be the asshole that runs the light. Well, that's on you. Right? You know the rules. You know how to protect yourself. You chose not to. You have something that's going to protect you. It's right there, and it's free. You don't even have to make a monthly payment to put the seatbelt on. It's free. Go get it.
Saved my ass twice.
Right? And you can't throw a dead cat without hitting someplace that has the vaccine. Even out here in Mayberry, you can't throw a dead cat and not hit one.
Yeah, Village Pharmacy in Bessemer.
Yeah. 5 minutes from me. It's closer to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Go to work. Well, except for you, because, that's where you work.
Yeah, I work.
Literally right there. The rest of us go to work. You pass 2 or 3 places on your way to work. I promise you do. But hey, don't want to infringe on your rights now. Right? Well, you don't have the right to health care. You don't have the right to your insurance. How much of that are you willing to give up? Stupidity, Lou. It's just flat out stupidity.
And I still want to know the answer to the end game. All the assholes on the right that are telling people not to get vaccinated and take horse dewormer, they all have vaccines.
Yeah. What?
Most of them. Most of them.
Well, that asshole Joe Rogan doesn't. And even whenever he found out he had it or whatever it was, he started doing all this other shit instead. You have it. It's right there. They're throwing it at you. Yet you refuse to take it. It's amazing. It's hard to believe. You see what you see why it's amazing that Christ didn't get pissed. You know.
Yeah.
uh, let's talk about our favorite platform for a second here, shall we?
Facebook.
There you go.
If you're listening, get off of
Get
it.
off it. Get off of it yesterday. Okay. Uh, Facebook. I'm trying to phrase this correctly here. Facebook decided that they were going to be transparent about people who were posting about the January 6th Capitol Hill. They call it riots. Let's face it, it was. It was an insurrection. Okay. Uh, Problem was, a few thousand of these Facebooks posts and whatnot just are missing.
Disappeared.
All gone. Uh, it's unclear how many posts are still missing from CrowdTangle, uh, a tool owned by Facebook that allows researchers to track where people are sent to track what people are saying on the platform. Uh, that's the name of the tool. It's called CrowdTangle. I don't know who the fuck came up with that name. Um, but it turns out hundreds of thousands of these are missing. Uh, it's unclear how many posts are missing, when they'll be restored, and if the problem solely affects U.S. content or material from all of Facebook's, listen to this one, 2.4 billion with a B users worldwide. Um, Apparently, this was discovered by a bunch of academics who discovered the problem because, well, they're going for their doctorates, and they were using Facebook as a source for their what do you call it? Oh, Lou, what is my wife's doing it? What the fuck is it called? Well, they're whatever it is for their doctorate. Once you get past your schooling, you have a it's not a thesis. Well, whatever it is, right? So they were using that as part of this. So they go through all this, and all of a sudden everything's incomplete. Uh, Researchers first discovered missing posts after comparing two versions of the CrowdTangle database of Facebook content produced by U.S. media outlets between September 2020 and January 2021. Basically, 4 5 months after the insurrection. The academics said they had planned to analyze what type of content Facebook had removed related to the insurrection to meet its content moderation policies, but they soon discovered that up to 30% of the posts collected in the weeks around the January 6th insurrection, roughly from December 28th, 2020 to January 11th, 2021, from the second CrowdTangle database were missing compared to the original. We came up tens of thousands of posts short. We knew something was clearly wrong. Quoted a quote from somebody. We were able to find some of the posts that we couldn't find on CrowdTangle, but we were able to find that they were still available on Facebook, that's when we knew, okay, this isn't us. There's some kind of real bug here. So even these folks they're saying it was a bug. Um, Lou, how trustworthy is Facebook as a company?
Well, look at Mark Zuckerberg. Would you chase that if you were in line with him? Would you trust him for anything he said? Looking at that Weasley face,
No, no.
and how deep are they? Well, he was sucking Trump's ass.
Oh, sure he was.
He was with the Russians, Putin. How much money did they make off of the Russians in 2016? How much did he make off the Russians in 2020?
And
And
what,
they
what?
know damn well where that money was coming from.
Well, yeah. Whenever you're paid in rubles, it's pretty easy. You figure it out, right? It's coming from Russia, and hey, who controls everything in Russia? Well, the oligarchs. Who controls the oligarchs? Putin. Right? It's not exactly a tree. It's more like a straight line. um, at this point, I'm not much. I'm not one to really do, but I've been saying for the longest time these platforms need to be regulated because they're incapable or unwilling, one or the other, to police themselves.
Yeah, the corporate self-regulation, has it ever worked?
No, if it did, we wouldn't have an FAA, right? You wouldn't need the government to be inspecting airplanes.
You wouldn't have it at DEP.
Nope, wouldn't need it.
You wouldn't have OSHA.
I don't see any way out of it because at 2.4 billion users, Facebook isn't going away anytime soon. Now, I understand that's worldwide, but some people, that's their only way of communicating, right? Facebook, well, I still use WhatsApp, right? I got friends overseas. That's the only real form of communication that these folks have on their phones or whatever is WhatsApp. Who owns WhatsApp? Facebook. You and I are still on Instagram. So Facebook isn't going away anytime soon. Uh, so the only alternative, regulate it. And this little disclaimer that this is not this COVID information is false or whatever. No, no. Every time something like that gets posted, I'll tell you something else. I'll tell everybody a thing. About a month ago, you and I were on this channel. We were talking about something with COVID. I forgot what the hell it was. Do you know that we got a YouTube strike on that?
Oh, did we?
Mm-hmm. We got a YouTube strike on it because we were discussing what the false and misleading information, and we got a YouTube strike. These fuckers are posting, use a horse laxative, and Facebook's just letting it go. All we did was discuss what these people were saying. We got a strike.
Mm-hmm.
So you tell me. It's there. The algorithm's out there. They can do it. They're just choosing not to. Twitter's not much better, but Twitter doesn't have nearly the users, the user base. I don't think there's 2.4 billion people on Twitter. At least I wouldn't think so. I mean, there's a lot, but by the way, piece of trivia for you. Can you tell me what the most watched streaming service is?
Most watched streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
You mean television wise or?
No, videos on online.
Um, Twitch,
No,
YouTube.
nope. You're gonna shit when I tell you.
What is it?
TikTok.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. I don't have TikTok.
TikTok is. Here's the thing, Lou. You can only see TikTok on your phone. It's the only app there is. I mean, they sort of have like a half-assed one for a browser, but that's it. They don't have a Roku app. They don't have any of these other things. Like it doesn't have the accessibility that YouTube has, and more people are watching things and posting things on TikTok than any other platform. The one Trump was going to shut down 2 years ago. Didn't know
TikTok,
that, did you?
TikTok is real big. Well, it started in China.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what? I was on it for a while.
Nerve wracking as fuck, wasn't it?
There are some things on there. If you can go through and find the guys that do hacks for homes, like construction, they're kind of neat. Then you get, of course, the people that want to look cute, dressing up and doing their dances. But man, is it a shit show for? It was a shit show for the Trumpers. My
I
God, just watching them in real life with the misinformation, just I couldn't take it anymore.
I wish there was a way that you could have a setting, and and Instagram I wish was the same way too. Although there sort of is on Instagram, where you could just mute it and just watch and not have the sound going. Because it's annoying as fuck. Uh, you're in the office or whatever, and you're in the bathroom, and you pull it out to read. You don't want to hear this thing playing all over the place, right? I mean, you don't want to turn your sound down on your phone because you're going to forget to turn it back up, and then somebody's going to call you, like your wife or whatever, is going to call you, then bitch at you because you didn't answer the phone. Well, fuck, I didn't hear the phone. I had the ringer turned down. Why'd you have the ringer turned down? Well, because I was looking at something on TikTok while I was on the commode. you know, um, there was maybe a couple of things on there that I watched that I actually kind of liked. Uh, but there was just too much bullshit with it. I mean, I can't sit there and just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll until you find. I mean, who has time for this shit? You know. But yeah, how about that one, huh? TikTok.
Yeah,
Average daily use is now it's only like an hour and a half or so more than YouTube. Okay, so it's not like it's beating it by leaps and bounds, but it is beating it, and I found that I really found that interesting. I really did. Um, Somebody in our in our Discord group posted North Carolina judge strikes down state's voter ID law. Do you see that one?
yeah, I did catch that today.
North Carolina judge struck down the state's latest photo voter identification law on Friday, agreeing with minority voters that Republicans rammed through rules tainted by racial bias as a way to remain in power. Two of the three trial judges declared that the December 2018 law is unconstitutional, even though it was designed to implement a photo voter ID mandate added to the North Carolina Constitution in a referendum just weeks earlier. They said that the law was rushed and intentionally discriminates against black voters, violating their equal protections. Uh, One of the judges said the law was motivated, at least in part, by an unconstitutional intent to target African American voters. Other less restrictive voter ID laws would have sufficed to achieve the legitimate non racial purpose of implementing the constitutional amendment requiring voter ID, deterring fraud, or enhancing voter confidence. Uh, there wasn't. I didn't realize we had such a big voter fraud issue. Um, Lou, we see this thing in North Carolina. Georgia's doing this shit. Florida's a shit show, and even I don't even want to talk about what's going on in Texas, simply because we just don't have time for all that crap. Um, what's your opinion?
You know what? I look at this stuff all week, and like I said, what's the end game for all this misinformation? Are you really trying to kill people to blame it on Biden? That's basically, are you going to get to the point of recession because you're going to lack enough of a workforce to do things, get things done? A lot of this is, there, of course, one of the Fox News things now is inflation. Well, shit, there's been inflation forever, and they won't raise the minimum wage on food and stuff. I just don't get it. This, you know,
Nope.
it used to be even the opposition party would help most of the Americans. Like they don't give a shit now.
I don't remember the Republican Party actually doing anything other than saying no. Right? They either say they say no. Right? This bill, this thing that was in North Carolina, this voter ID thing, was just another way of saying no.
Well, and this is going on in other states.
Right.
We want all the power. We don't want anybody to vote that's going to vote against us. Well, look at the shit show in our own state now.
I want to know what the end game to that is.
That's Wagner. Didn't he ran for governor last time around and got his ass kicked?
Yeah.
Um, what's your end game? All you're doing is kissing Trump's ass.
For
You
what?
subpoenaed my records, and then he subpoenaed all these records, and did you see the article in the paper? Well, hell, you could have went to county any county vote election board and got that information
So he just did it. What, to spend money?
for a show.
Yeah, for a show.
California recall cost 265 million. Who should be liable for that?
And it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. I think it was called at what, 9:30?
Oh, it was a killer. I'll tell you what woke those people up, or it would have been close. Texas.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because
Even Devin Nunes's district went for Newsom.
yeah. Bet that scared the shit out of Nunez, huh? Yeah, it better have. 'Cause that fucker needs to go too. Just to show you the other side of the coin, somebody's gonna try to primary Abbott, that asshole in Texas, because he's not crazy enough. He's not fucked up enough. So there's Republicans who are looking uh, to go after him.
Did you see in one of the polls without Trump in it who was polling number two for a possible contender in 24 on the Republican side?
No.
Trump Jr.
Oh fuck.
He's a bigger fuck up than his father.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is. I can't wait to see these assholes run again. I can't. I cannot wait to see these assholes run again. Because I you think about it. you're going to have the same faces running, right? Asshole Ted's going to run again, right? Because that fucker can't help himself. Rubio's going to run again because, well, he can't help himself. So you're going to have those two idiots. Um,
Ted Cruz.
Cruz will run again, yeah, because that fucker can't help it. Boy, we'll talk about it. Of those three, which one's the bigger fuck up? Cruz, Nunez, or Rubio?
Tell you what, not one of them has charisma.
Which one's the bigger fuck up? I
Cruz,
almost think it's Cruz. You know, I mean, I don't know how the fuck he got a pass whenever Texas decided to get hit by 6 feet of snow. Well, I'm just gonna go. We're gonna go to where do you call it?
Cancun.
Cancun. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sucking Trump's ass. The guy that called his wife an ugly slut, more or less.
Wasn't his father in the JFK
Father killed
assassination?
Kennedy
Yeah,
too.
his father killed Kennedy, and next thing you know, he's phone banking. He's phone banking. How about that one? This guy has no balls at all. Gutless, coward. You know, at least the turtle will tell you when he's gonna fuck you. He'll take great pleasure in watching a elderly healthcare building burn, but you know he tells you that's how it is. At least he has the balls to tell you up front, I'm going to get you. Oh my God. Absolutely unbelievable. One thing left, Lou. One thing I want to talk about real quick before we kill it. Um, the Pope, since you and I are both Catholic,
Yep.
we heard of this guy before, basically for all our lives. And no, folks, it's not the same guy all the time. Uh, but basically, he um, he was finally called out on uh, some of the things that the U.S. bishops were doing, as far as trying to punish Biden, right, for uh, because Biden's pro-choice. Actually, Biden's not pro-choice. Just politically, that's the law, and he's basically going along with the law. Well, on the flight returning from Slovakia, the Pope was asked for his opinion on the debate within the U.S. Bishops' Conference whether Biden, who was also Catholic, so the three of us have something in common, should be denied communion because of his support for a woman's right to choose, even though he's personally against abortion. So there it is. This is coming from Yahoo. Um, the Pope responded with, "I never denied communion to anyone." uh, he said, "Communion is not a prize for the perfect. Communion is a gift, the presence of Jesus and His church." He also went on to take the church's stand that abortion is murder, and those who carry out abortions kill. Okay, so he went on. He stated the church's doctrine, which has never changed. Uh, but he said something very interesting. The Pope said bishops should deal with the problem in a pastoral instead of a political way. The quote is, "A pastor knows what to do at any moment, but if he leaves the pastoral process of the church, he immediately becomes a politician." And I found that quite striking. Um, I've always liked this Pope, uh, and I'll always have a bias toward him because he's a Messi fan and has a Messi jersey.
Of course.
Well, he is Argentine, for God's sake. He was a doorman in a bar, and he had a very colorful past. Uh, but it kind of goes back to the same thing that you and I always argue for. It's not up for you to decide whether I deserve communion or any other sacrament or not. That's not your choice. Okay, the validity of it comes from our faith, and if we're acting in our faith, it's not up to you to decide. Uh, I'll be honest. I kind of like the way he did this.
You know what? It's a good statement. More or less said, you know what? Tend to your flocks and shut the F up.
Do your job. Basically, what he told them: do your job. Doing this shit isn't doing your job. Uh, do you think it'll resonate? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't have a whole lot of faith or a whole lot of care in the U.S. Catholic bishops.
No, not really.
I really don't. I think they're in too deep. They're in the game too deep. And I'll be honest, and I've said it forever. They should be taxed. You're playing a game that you're not paying an entry fee for.
You want to push your agenda, you better pay for it.
You got to pay for it, right? It's not up to you to tell me who to vote for. It's up for you to tell me what the church's doctrine is, and it's up to me to make my choices, right? I think it's a good step. I think for me, it could have been a little bit more pointed at the U.S. bishops, because this isn't the first time he's had issues with them. And what's his name before him had issues with them. Benedict. He had issues with the U.S. Catholic bishops too. Uh, and no one's really kind of holding them in line. Well, they might be behind the scenes. We don't know. Uh, but sure as hell doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I like the one that the biggest outspoken one. I think you mentioned this too. Really coming down on Biden. Somebody dug up his Grinder account a couple of weeks later.
The New York one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it figures it was New York, right? Do you see this guy? You know what? If you didn't know it and you just saw the picture, as soon as you saw the picture, you knew it.
yeah,
You're like, oh yeah, yep. You can tell me he was on Grinder? Yeah, okay. Of course he was. Hey, you know what? At least they're adults. You know, at least they're adults. Catholic Church is making progress. Uh, Hopefully, what he said resonates, and you know, it's a nice little shot across the bow. I hope, because honestly, as a church, as people who are practicing in the church, bullshit like this we don't need. Okay, the church doesn't need it. The parishioners don't need it. Quit your bullshit. Get back to doing what you're supposed to do, and you're probably gonna have a whole lot less people leaving your church. Because I promise you, there's people in every faith who don't agree with everything that whatever faith they're following has to say about certain things. Right? But we're the ones that are seeing this mass exodus all of a sudden.
hmm
You know, and I doubt it's simply because they won't have women priests.
no, and it's happening across the board with every denomination.
Yeah.
Guess what? Your Generation Zers are going to be the least church going there is.
Sure. And it's I don't believe, Lou, it's as much as what they're saying as it is how they're saying it. You know, I really don't. I don't think anybody has a problem if a clergy person or an institution, a religious institution, tells you that abortion is a sin. I don't think anybody has a problem with that. I think where people have the problem is whenever they say it's a sin, and if you do it, you will burn in hell. I think that's where the people have their problems. So this is our position. This is what it is. Now you have to make your own choices. And I think they'd be far better off.
Yeah.
I really do.
Here, did you see this thing? I'm going to shoot it over Discord. This is like the perfect um, analogy. Is it running slow? I didn't hear a beep.
Nope. Nope. I get it.
There it is.
I got it. Yep. I got it. Okay. This will be a good one to end this on. Uh, Whoa, that's not it. That's it. See, Lou, it's been a while. So here we go. Oh, there you go. Right? I'm so sick of seeing Christians in America claim persecution. You're not being persecuted for loving Jesus. You're being held accountable for not acting like him.
I mean, face it today. What's the Christians? Not all of them, but a majority
Yeah.
victim, and we're Christians. You're just not. You're being biased against religion. No, there it is, right there.
Right.
Jesus wouldn't be a right wing Republican today.
No. Be a peace loving hippie.
And all those pastors in the big churches, those be the ones he threw out of the temple like he did the other ones
Uh,
2,000 years ago?
the Joel Osteens of the world. Yeah.
Benny Hinn, Olstein, Graham, all them ass clowns.
I was with a buddy of mine, Lou. I was getting a burn barrel. Don't ask me how I'm tied. That has nothing to do with this story, but I'm just setting it up. And I sent him a text. I'm like, dude, I need a burn barrel. Any place you know where I can get one? He lives out here on Brewster Road. And he said, yeah, I'll get you one this afternoon. He said, I'll pick you up at 12:30. We'll go get it. Okay. This was Sunday. It was the day after you were over. And so we're out running around all over the place getting this burn barrel. He had me out in the sticks. I was like, dude, honest to God,
There's a guy down the street from me sells them.
I got this for nothing. But
Oh, okay.
I'm going to need my in-laws are going to need one. So they have to let me know. Uh,
I think he still has them.
he I told him, I said, you know what, I got to figure out a way to make money without actually going to work. I said, oh, I know. When we it was our I pretty much repeated the conversation we had on Discord. I said, you know what, I should just start a church because I don't have to make a whole lot of money then because I'm not giving anything up. Not, a quarter of it or a third of it isn't going out the window. It's staying right here. That's what these guys did, dude. That's what these guys did. All right. That's all. This asshole's driving around. I mean, his yachts have yachts. Did you ever see
Yeah,
Joel Olstein's house? Did
Castor's car is 350 grand.
you ever see that asshole's house?
Yeah.
Father John used to visit my grandfather on Friendship Street under the grapevine and drink wine. You know, this asshole's in a multi-million-dollar house, 16 cars. It's unbelievable. Gotta let Master Grant know we're done for the night.
No, well,
We'll let him on real quick, and then we'll see.
What
Hello, sir.
happened?
What
Hi.
happened? We were just getting ready to call it a night.
We What'd you start at 5?
Yeah.
Eey, sorry. I thought it was 6. I gotta go back. I gotta start drinking again.
don't do that.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I thought it was 6 o'clock.
Conversation.
Oh my lord.
Hey, Master Grant, let me tell you this. You'll like this. My granddaughter's in second grade in Pittsburgh
Okay.
in school where my daughter in law teaches. So she's starting piano lessons, and she now has a class on web design, second grade, but she couldn't get into the beginner's coding class, second grade.
Wow.
Because her math skills are about a fifth grade level already.
Her math skills were too high.
Well, it's just it was filled up with older kids or
Oh,
something.
okay. All right.
Wow.
You imagine them. I was still eating dirt in second grade.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm,
Wow.
I'm still trying to learn Python.
That's,
Yeah, think about that. She's a second grader that this little school has to offer.
that's incredible. That
That's
really
amazing.
is. Wow.
That's
Well,
amazing.
guys, like I said, I'm really sorry. What the heck is wrong with me? I thought it was 6, and I'm. Oh Lord.
You know what? Not to make you feel guilty, but we probably had the best show we ever had.
Probably. I'm just out there getting persecuted. So you know. Wow. Well, guys, I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's okay.
Well, then just catch me up a little bit. What you guys just talk about real quick?
Well,
Anything
let's see. We
about?
we what did we bitch about today, Lou?
We went from container issues, conglomerations, monopolies, COVID. We're getting a big resurgence around here. What
Fa-
else?
Facebook
Facebook, misinformation, and disappearing data.
and the U.S. Catholic bishops and the way the Pope kind of backhandedly bitch slapped them.
For Biden.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. COVID. I mean, all those knuckleheads who wouldn't get vaccinated are all sick. They've all
Yep.
gotten sick.
Well, we decided it's a self-correcting problem.
So, yeah. And so what the Pope do to the Catholic bishops?
Uh, Basically, with the threatening to deny Biden communion, uh, basically said was a pastor doing anything other than being a pastor is being a politician.
Good.
I'm paraphrasing it. It's not it exactly, but that's basically what he said.
Thank
He
goodness.
he reiterated the church's stance on abortion, uh, and then the caveat was, however, uh, a pastor doing anything other than being a pastor is being a politician. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
It is. It is. That's really good because, yeah, like the U.S. Catholic bishops were just becoming Republican Party
Yep.
supporters.
Yep. And then we're not exactly sure it's going to do much good, but it was a nice little
No, they're
nice
not
little
going to
reminder.
change. No, the Catholic bishops are just going to say we're, they're not even going to listen to it.
No, no. I'm hoping they do. And we also decided that we would have a whole lot less people who are leaving the church, not just the Catholic Church, although that seems to be the big one, but all denominations. If these folks would be more willing to just sit there and state what the church's stance is, and then tell people that they're also old enough to make their own decisions.
Yes.
And they're not going to burn in hell.
Right?
Okay, so
This is our stance. This is
you
what we
guys
believe.
don't.
But you are an adult. You have to make choices, but understand
Well,
the consequences of those choices.
here's the problem. Here's the problem. In John, okay, in John, the day after Jesus was crucified, okay, he comes in the day after, 3 days, rolled the stone away that night. The disciples, it was approaching evening. The disciples were in this room. The door was locked, and Jesus came among them. And he said, "Peace be with you." And he showed him his hands. Now, here's the problem. The next thing he says is, "Those whose sins you loose on earth are loosed. Those whose sins you bind on earth are bound." Now, I've got a couple questions. One, don't you think that somebody who was just resurrected, somebody who just crucified, what, a day and a half early? They say 3 days, but actually it's not 3 days.
It's more like two because the old Jewish way you counted that same day.
No, it's all wrong. They're trying to force the prophecy to anyway. 3 days, a day and a half, 2 days, whatever it is. Don't you think the first things out of his mouth would be, "Hey guys, guess what? Your sins are forgiven. I'm the sacrificial lamb." Don't you think that? No. First words he says to his disciples are, "Those whose sins you loose on earth are loose, those sins you bind on earth are bound." Now, that's significant because being that these are the first words of the resurrected Jesus, according to John, this gives, okay, this is now who's interpreting. The Catholic Church, the Orthodox Church, believe that this power is given to priests. So priests, if they wish, can bind you on earth and in heaven. They can basically send you to hell, right? The church believes that. Okay, so basically Christ's sacrifice on the cross means nothing because a priest can say you're going to hell and boom, you're done. All right? The evangelical church and Protestant churches will tend to say, no, it's not priests. Priests can't do that. No, that's wrong. The church can do that. So Pastor John's Baptist church in the woods is able to bind their parishioners if they don't toe the line, right? If they say something wrong, they say, well, our church believes that your sins are going to be bound, and bound you are, according to that theology. So that is where all of this comes into play, that verse. And you get the Catholic Church, like the Catholic bishops, making statements like this because they have that authority, right? They're able to, because they can bind people's sins on earth. So, sorry for a little bit of ranting on the theology there, but it's something it bothers me
also,
tremendously.
They're determining what a sin is that isn't even in the Bible half the time.
Yeah.
The other question, that the other thing that comes that arises from this whole thing, and it's kind of the theme that Lou and I've had all night long, was what's the end game? Okay, because you are seeing that because of how you are doing things, and whether you choose to believe or admit that it's because of how you're doing things, it's another debate or argument we could have. But people are telling you they just don't want to hear your shit anymore. And they're not showing up. And this power and this influence that you're going to have over all these people gets diminished because you only have power and influence if it's recognized. Okay?
Yeah. Do you know if Jesus were to come back to earth, well, it would be the end time, but But if he were to come back, do you know what his message would be? It
Quit
would be
being
the
an
same
asshole.
as it would be the same message that
Don't
he.
be an asshole.
Don't
Yeah,
quit being
it would be the
assholes to
same.
each other.
It would be the same message that he preached when he first came, which is love God with all your heart. That's what he would preach. Forget all of this BS going on. Focus on your relationship with God, and that, and we're missing that. I think we're missing. Well, when I say we, meaning Catholic Church, I think I think the Pope gets it, but a lot of U.S. Catholic bishops don't.
Well, don't forget we said it even today that the Pope's been around the block a few times. I mean, come on, he's a Messi fan.
All right, I gotta bail out.
All right, Lou, we'll see you.
See
All
you.
But I mean, he whenever he was younger, he was a doorman, he was a bouncer, and this guy's seen the world. And he hasn't been up in the ivory tower like a lot of these bishops have. He's seen what people are and what they're like and what they can do. So the way he comes across is going to be a little different than the way these assholes are doing things,
Yeah.
right? And he's more down to earth. He's more like, look, this is what we believe, but you can't be an asshole. This is what we believe. Preach what we believe. Don't judge.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. I think everybody's missing it is that these churches are going down this political street now.
Yeah.
So instead of preaching message, they're like, they're just basically echoing Republican ideology. Yeah, and that's what's turning a lot of people away. And nobody wants to go. See, nobody wants to go to church and hear the pastor say, you know, whatever.
Right.
Mitch McConnell, good, good, good. Nancy Pelosi, bad, bad, bad. Or
No one
hey,
wants to
if
hear
you're a
that.
Democrat, you're a demon-crat. I mean, nobody wants to hear that from a pastor or priest.
Right. And this is why they're losing people. Right. I always complained about Pennsylvania, about our wonderful Commonwealth that you were lucky enough to escape from. That we have the only state I've ever seen, and you and I've been in a bunch of them, that refuses to treat adults like adults. Okay, the state absolutely refuses to. It always has to try to control everything, every little bit of everything. And I like the churches, to me, especially the Catholic Church, because it's really the only one I know, seems to be going, trying to do that same thing. People don't want to be controlled. They want to be shown option A and option B. I want to know what your stance is because I'm coming to you, right? I'm coming to church. I'm approaching you. I want to hear what you have to say. But I don't want to be dictated to. I want to hear your argument.
And I don't want you to tell me what my politics should be.
Right.
Otherwise, let's just go live in a theocracy.
Right.
If that's the case, you just become a theocracy then.
Right, exactly.
Because you don't really have any choices anymore.
Right.
So, they're really going down a slippery slope here. They could find themselves in a whole lot of hurt because they're really getting off the message. They're going astray, is what's happening.
And eventually, they will be doing the proverbial preaching to the choir. There won't be anybody left.
Yeah. So maybe, but you know what? These things kind of go around and round in circles, and then there'll be a revitalization of the core principles, and people come back to that, and maybe this
I don't
is just
know.
maybe it's
I
just a
don't know.
process.
We don't have. Never before have we had the influences that we have now, the outside influences that we have now, readily available. All right, you can, at the blink of an eye, a couple of keystrokes, a couple of swipes, be influenced by things very quickly, very easily, far easier than you can have that same influence from the church. And that's an issue. The church has done a very poor job. Again, speaking as a Catholic, the church has done a very poor job of keeping up with the times. And I'm not talking about changing doctrine or anything like that. Hey, knock it off. I'm not talking about doctrine or anything like that. I'm talking about just simply how they message, the tools that are used, the platforms that are used, their ability to get out what they want to get out is severely lacking. And the
Mm-hmm.
language in which they use to get that message out is lacking terribly.
Yep.
Terribly.
Yeah. And, it used to, for the longest time, the delay of the church moving forward with anything was actually a good thing because
Mm-hmm.
they weren't getting caught up in whatever today's, whatever the norm is today, right?
Right.
Um, so it was actually a good thing, but you know, it's when I really feel like yes, they are way behind, which in a time when they shouldn't be behind. So, and then
Right.
number two is that they're letting their people in power. And I'm not just saying, I'm not just blaming Catholic churches. I mean, this is all across the board. All
Yep.
denominations are doing the same
Yep.
thing, and they're letting the people in power start to say, they're starting to dictate what you should feel, vote, be politically.
Right.
And quite frankly, that's going to happen, and we are going to become a theocracy.
And the willingness and the eagerness to fall in line and be told what to do is purely a Republican thing, right? It's not a Democrat thing. Democrats don't
No,
like to be told what to do. How they can't even decide among themselves,
you can't.
right?
Yeah, you can't get.
The
You,
circular
you
firing
can't get.
squad that is the Democratic Party,
You can't
right?
get three Democrats to agree on one thing
No, you can't get them to
or
agree on
three different
what
opinions.
color the sky is. You know, you can't.
And
So
it's a good and bad, but going to the extreme, the Republicans are rank and file marching orders, you know,
they're
and
lemmings. They're
it's
lemmings.
yeah, it's trouble,
They
really
really are.
is.
They're lemmings.
So just wanted to let you know that uh, the belt test last week went really good.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so Sensei Clint did pass, so he's now a Master Clint, and
Look out!
so look out. He did really great. I mean, there
I
was
knew he would.
blood. He broke his toes. Perfect. Only thing would make it perfect was spit up. Then it would have been.
I sent
So,
him a message before his test and wished him luck and told him I said I'm very confident you're going to pass because he's dead on. He's not gonna screw around. So we
yeah,
now have yet another master in our ranks, huh?
he was. Yeah, he did really good. It was a great test. I
Good.
wish he would have been there,
I wish I would have too.
but so I'll let you know when I come up next time, and we'll make sure we get together.
Yeah, yeah, we need to.
Yeah.
We absolutely do. Uh, okay, sir. Let me get going.
Yep.
My father-in-law's coming home tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, heavens. Where's answer?
A week early, the insurance company decided they weren't going to pay anymore. So we're kind of it's the truth. My wife found out this morning, so she had to leave work and had to get to the hospital and learn how to do the feeding tube and learn how to do all this other
That's
all
hilarious.
the other shit. And
Yeah.
we still don't have any kind of home care for him. We're still trying to get that figured out. So it's been a fun day.
I'm
Now we
sorry
got
for
to.
you. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well,
That's
you know what?
really bad.
To me, it's an inconvenience, right? The At the end of the day, he's coming home. All right, everything else is an inconvenience. Well, it's only an inconvenience because we thought we had a week longer to prep for all of this.
Mhm.
That's it. That's the only inconvenience. It's fine. We'll hurry up. That's all. And we'll hurry up for a day. Because let's face it, once he's in the house, I mean, we still have, like handicap ramps and everything we have to get in, but he's not leaving that bed anytime soon. I mean, or get into that wheelchair and decide to go out to the garage. That's not going to happen for quite some time, if ever.
If ever.
If ever. So get him in the house, get him home, get him situated, and we'll do the rest as we go along. That's all. But at least he'll be home tomorrow. Lisa doesn't have to run into the hospital every day. She can just walk next door. It's going to be a load off her. It's going to, it's going to be nice to get to some sense of normalcy.
Right.
Because I think everybody needs that. And even if he is home and can't really do much for himself, he's still home.
Yes.
So that's that. And that has taken far more of our time than it should have. I mean, you don't have a choice. You have to do these things, right? But stress level, Master Grant.
Yeah.
Stress level's been off the hook. And just a little something between you and me. How many days?
It is now 26. No, wait. No, I'm sorry. 66.
8.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, I know. I picked a hell of a time, but yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Well, you know what? If the first 2 weeks are the hardest, if you get anything, just call me. Just call my phone. You got Lou as well, but I mean, I'm so happy for you.
This is pretty much why I've been quiet.
Now, did you join?
No.
No. Okay. It does help.
Believe me when I tell you, I have enough people around me that's been through this that I can just make a phone call.
Yeah, but I mean, program works. It does.
Oh, I have no doubt. I mean, Lou's a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. Wow.
Yep. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just made my night.
Well,
I'm super pumped. I'm happy now.
We are. Maybe we should talk later.
Okay.
All right.
Call me.
I don't want to get you off of work or anything, but yeah, maybe we will. Give me some time. I'll give you a call in a bit.
Very good. Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys all next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and God bless. We'll see everybody next week. 5 o'clock, Master Grant. Just